All right, everybody, welcome to SIG Azure. It is Wednesday, September 6th, 2017. And the agenda and meeting notes for this meeting are available at bit.ly/SIG-Azure. That is a running tally of all the agenda and notes for this SIG. So please feel free to go there and see who attended and what we spoke about, and as well as finding video links to prior meetings. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and press through the agenda. This should be a pretty quick meeting. If there is something that you would like to speak about in terms of PRs that need attention or issues you're aware of or any other things, please put those in the agenda and we will get to those forthwith. Moving right along, work in progress. The only thing that I'm aware of right now that is on my personal radar is the Azure Cloud Provider Breakout. There was a decision made in SIG Cluster Lifecycle last week to not try and push for beta, obviously in 1.8, and that seems to be the decision at this point. So I'm guessing that the actual implementation will be in beta in 1.9, and we will be heavily involved with that as we move forward with that effort. We have a team in China that is working on that at Microsoft, and probably will expand that effort as we move forward. If anybody wants to participate in that, please make a comment in the issue, and stay tuned for PRs that reference that issue. There will be a lot of work done there. So this gives us a chance to sort of have a greenfield opportunity to add things that we wanted to or refactors to the cloud provider. And because the implementation plan is to have this be in parallel to the entry provider, this gives us a chance to A/B the functionality in a way that would have been impossible before. So as a community, I think we have a really beautiful opportunity here to improve that functionality, and I highly suggest we take advantage of it and make the most out of it. So at any rate, that is the issue that we'll be tracking the work, and stay tuned on that as we move forward. PRs needing attention and review. There's Andy Zhang did a new PR for this. Oh,
before we move forward, just a
sure.
quick question. What's happening to the work going in parallel while we're carving out the provider?
The work happening in parallel.
Yes, so there is some work happening on the provider right now around the KMS, for example.
Oh, right.
So
that's gonna, because we're in tree already, that work will be probably duplicated in tree and out of tree. And so there will be a time there where you actually have to support both. And that means that if we patch one, we have to patch the other. And especially if we do more of a greenfield approach to the out-of-tree provider, that will make it tricky, because there could be an instance where a code fix on one does not necessarily apply to the other. So that'll be a relatively high management burden for a period of time. But of course, you know, with any greenfield thing we do, there's always that is kind of the trade-off. So any other questions about cloud provider before we move on? Okay, great. So PRs that need attention review, Andy Zhang has this pull request out there in the examples repo that has the cloud provider or stuff for disks. This was actually in response to having to move this stuff out of core because the path that it was in was deprecated. So this did get some reviews before, but it would be good to have just a few more eyes on this if possible. I did look at it, but I'm not the most qualified reviewer, so I'd really appreciate if somebody else could just run through these and make sure they make sense. So that would be great. There's this, oh, go ahead. Who is that? Oh, okay. There's pull request 50233. It is, I'll pull it up here and take a look. Initial implementation from an Azure file on Windows Node. This is part of the Windows parity work. This has had some reviews, but I think needs more reviews. there's been some changes requested, and I want to verify that those changes were implemented properly. Again, I'm not the right person to review this code, but if somebody here wants to look at that, that would be great. I'll also paste this link in the chat in case you don't have the agenda open. Any questions about that? All right. Lastly, the user-friendly load balancer names. This is PR49903. Also pasting link here. This definitely needs some additional reviewers.
I looked at this, man. Last time you asked for last meeting you asked for reviewers. That was among them, and I looked at it. It's fine.
Okay. For some reason, somebody I think Boe removed their LGTM on it. So I don't know if that was because it's supposed to be in the 1.9 milestone or what the reason was, but
I don't have LGTM rights on anything in Kubernetes. I just review and comment and so on. If you scroll down to last meeting notes, I actually updated them with all the stuff that I said I'll take care of last time.
Okay.
All right. So like if you scroll down to the last meeting notes, you'll see like that there were some reviews requested on a lot of things. Some of the things were on my side, and I took care of them, and I think the other people took care of their stuff as well.
Okay, so great. Then we'll get this on track for approval then for 1.9. In fact, what I'll do is I'll add it to the 1.9 milestone now because it's not going to go into 1.8.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Kyle. And there's something else. So, Cal, are you a member of the Kubernetes org or no?
No, there was actually this discussion, if you remember, around the feature you wrote for the KMS, and I'm not sure what's the process to go there.
I'll get that to you, but you should definitely become a member of the org because this is going to make that a lot easier.
Yes, at least I think that the stuff that we can quickly review and approve from our side, that would take care of things.
Agreed. Okay. Moving along. Any other PRs needing attention or review? Anybody here have anything they want reviewed?
No. Tomorrow I'll have end of week. I'll have the basic skeleton of the KMS ready because the interface is already added. So I'll have the skeleton ready. I have few concerns around the user experience of how people will use that, especially there is no key rotation and stuff. So we just need to think about it. And also I have, remember I raised the discussion of the scheduler issues that we have around disks and types and VMs and all of that stuff.
Yes.
I want to open this discussion. This is not the right forum for it, but we at least need to start having this discussion. Just either stop it or kill it, or just go ahead and do it. All right. So I need to pull Lackey's leg into this because he is the best guy in terms of user experience when it comes to these things.
Yeah, agreed. So. Okay, great. What I would say is let's just for tracking purposes, let's open up an issue in Kubernetes. And tag it with SIG Azure, and then we'll use that as a discussion point for this.
All right.
Okay, cool. Anything else?
No, other than just please take a look at the Azure channel on Slack.
Yes.
There are a bunch of questions that can easily be answered and get people unlocked. Some questions around how things work, some question around how can I do this and that can be answered as simply as a two-liner or a reference to some doc. And it helps people greatly. So I'm trying, at least I spend a total of 2 hours a week or an hour a week on this. So just I appreciate if people go in and just look. It's also educational experience, by the way. Mm-hmm. So there's value in this.
Yes, that is in the announcements, and I 100% agree. I was actually helping that guy Mark last night try and diagnose why he was having issues with node upgrades. Looks like he might have uncovered some sort of incompatibility with Docker versions in 1.7.5, so we're going to have to figure that out. Just what we need. So yeah, I echo what you said, and the more eyes on that, the better. Also, Stack Overflow has a ton of questions all the time for us that we can answer. There's a link to that. And, you know, sort of for better or for worse, Stack Overflow is the generally accepted route for user-facing questions. So
I actually don't have an account there. I'm
you may regret getting one, but
guilty as charged. Maybe I should start getting.
Okay, cool. Is anybody aware of any issues that need to be investigated or helped with currently? And then these are Kubernetes issues specifically. All right. Okay. So just a quick update about where we're at in the various release cycles. We're going to try and cut 1.0.beta.1 today. Today is also the first burn down meeting, and it's going to happen in about an hour from now or 45 minutes from now. If you want to be involved in that as a spectator, I can't imagine why somebody would, but you may want to. There is a Kubernetes burn down meetings Google group that you can join, and you will get an invite to the meeting. I can also add you directly since I own the calendar. That would be great to have people just interested in the release process who might want to be involved in 1.9 as that happens, and just see what happens behind the scenes. We are basically on track. There's a pretty high level of churn around testing right now. For example, the COPS AWS test is completely broken. There's a backend janitor job that handles all the cleanup for those things is also broken. Kubernetes cross was broken yesterday because somebody changed an int type and it exceeded the value of the allocated memory, and so there's lots of like constant things happening with the submit queue pretty much on a daily basis, but we're trying to work through those. We're also working on getting the 1.8 upgrade tests, and the current version SKU policy really applies for two versions. So this will be 1.6 and 1.7. So basically the 1.5 path to 1.8 will be deprecated, just for everybody's knowledge and edification.
Hey Jason.
Yes.
Quick question. How are you keeping track of the status of the submit queue? Are you just watching a Slack channel, or is there another Google group for that?
I see it mainly because I'm in all the SIG groups. So SIG testing Slack channel has usually something in it. People are also raising awareness in SIG release, and also when I'm doing all these managing of PRs and whatnot, I see them there. So I don't know what the best way is. I mean, you can look at test grid and whatnot, but I just find the just looking at the regular channels to be the way to do it.
Okay.
Okay, 1.7.6, there's no plan out yet, but I'm anticipating that'll probably happen next week. 1.6.10 doesn't have a plan yet. Same probably next week or the week following. ACS Engine 0.6.0 is out. I haven't heard anything about whatever would be the next, probably 0.7.0. But anybody from the ACS side want to speak to that? All right. So lastly, announcements. We already hit these. Thanks, Cal, for hitting this announcement early. We need more eyes on Stack Overflow and specifically the Azure, SIG Azure channel in Slack. And if you haven't looked at this pull request for the RFC proposal, please do. It will change the way things are done. This isn't an official announcement, but it's something you all should probably know about, is that there is a movement afoot that will probably happen in SIG architecture to basically gate all of the contributions into master. So essentially, we're going to probably move to a non-dirty master model, which means we will have a branch that gets merged in at release time as opposed to committing to master. So that is a relatively humongo change in procedure and process. It'll probably have very wide, far-reaching impacts. But Brian Grant is probably going to be the person driving that. So if you have a stake in that race and want to be involved in the discussion, please attend SIG architecture meetings, which are Thursday at 8:30 a.m. PST. There is not one this week, but the following week. You can also join Kubernetes-SIG-architecture at Google Groups and get the information there. These are things, it's hard. I probably go to more SIG meetings than anybody. I don't know anybody who goes to more than I do, for better or for worse. And there are a lot of things that seem peripheral, but when they emerge in the sort of mainstream discussions, it can be really impactful. So I will try in the SIG to bring those up for people who are interested in learning more and getting involved in other areas and other SIGs. So I would say SIG architecture is definitely something we should look at. Another interesting thing for this group specifically is there is a lot more happening in SIG Windows now than there has been. I know in the past SIG Windows was kind of flagging a bit, but Jason Messer at Microsoft has now got 3 FTEs dedicated to upstream work. There is a new version of Windows coming out that is actually going to support multiple containers per pod, and they will share all the things that you should expect. They're also trying to find parity in terms of feature richness in the container ecosystem for Windows. There's a lot of good stuff there, and it's going to mean that eventually we're looking at true parity between Windows-based nodes and Linux-based nodes. So if you haven't attended SIG Windows in the past because it didn't seem like it was happening, it is starting to happen, and you can see the agenda and notes at bit.ly/sig-windows if you're just curious and catching up. I don't really have any other announcements per se. Anybody have anything they want to add?
Nope.
Cool. All right. Well, you get 10 minutes back. I appreciate, as always, everybody's attendance, and have a great week, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.